Alright everyone, welcome back to Schmattz Outdoors. We're going to try and talk a little lower because I'm into my baits again. It's last Friday in August, so the 29th I believe it is. So I'm going to be baiting today, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Pre-baiting. The season starts on the 1st, September 1st. So it'll be Monday. I will be baiting early in the day or earlier in the day on Monday, and then trying to hunt Monday night, weather permitting, because it sounds like there's a chance of rain. But I will come and set out here even if it's a light rain. If it's thunderstorms, maybe not, but the rest of it I will. But I'm into bait number one, the further south bait, as I suspected. You know, they got a beautiful trail coming in here. It goes out this way, and then there actually is a trail. It winds off and it goes right here, kind of out through the woods off this way. I don't really see anything towards my stand. I just got done hanging my stand. It's in this tree, right? It's actually up here is where my stand is, right there. All right, we're into bait number two here, the middle bait. Things definitely changed in a week here, which I actually thought it would. The fact that the bear with the white spot on his chest was here on Friday morning before I got here last Friday. So exactly a week ago, probably almost real close a week ago to like within an hour. Yeah, so like I said, I'm not going to mess with the stand in here. I didn't carry any more ladder sections in. My stand's going to be in this tree right here. It's actually right up here is where I got it. That tree is only like 14 yards to here, so I'm, you know, maybe 16 up to my stand. But yeah, so they definitely got like a bunch of grass matted down right here. It kind of looks like over this way there's a bunch back in here, so actually a bunch of this looks all matted down. I'm seriously debating abandoning this bait altogether and just running the two baits. The bait number one that I was just at, and then bait number three is set up for a northwest wind, or really any westerly wind. The more west it is, the better that stand is. But this one here, like I said, there's stand number one, like a southwest wind, that one would work good. A southwest wind is actually blowing out towards some of this area, which is where I think some of the bears are gonna come from. So this stand is legitimately set up for like a straight east wind or straight south wind, or anything between those two. So like I said, this one's a little more limiting, but there are bears in here, so I'm going to bait it today. I actually only brought in about half of a pail bait today, again, because I wasn't real sure, and we're going to see if I dump a half a bait and I come back in here tomorrow, or half a pail. If I come back in here tomorrow and it's completely gone, well, then I might reconsider things. Part of it is too, I may or may not gonna run short. I mean, if I shoot a bear early in the season here in the first couple days, 3-4 days, I'm okay. I mean, if I end up hunting the whole week, or if I'll probably run out of bait before the end of the week, and then, you know, if I have to come back up here to hunt, you know, again, if I don't get a bear this first week, then I'm gonna definitely have to buy bait and bring more bait up here. So only running two baits would save me, you know, it might only be a half of a 5-gallon pail a day of bait, but that's a half a 5-gallon pail I can dump at another bait, and it'll extend that bait one more day. That, you know, anyway. But yeah, it's kind of interesting. So I've been splashing some liquid on these trees and then spraying the anise and stuff up here, but you can literally see where it looks like they're almost like chewing on the bark and licking the bark on this thing all the way around. I mean, they definitely got, there is a little bit of ganola, I think, like right down here, there's just a little bit, and so it's hard to tell because there's a whole bunch of chewed up sticks here, but there is a trail I can see kind of goes right off through here. There's a trail right here, kind of goes straight off that way. the grass and underbrush ain't terribly high, so I mean they can kind of wander anywhere they want back in here too. So that was sort of the nice thing when I got up in this tree. Like, I mean, I could see probably 50 yards or more all the way around me in here. But all right, I already spent more time than I was going to in here. We're gonna quick dump my bait, splash my liquid, pour some honey, spray the trees, and we'll be on to the third bait. Like I said, I'm not sure what to do with this bait. We're gonna keep baiting it at least for the next couple days, probably until at least the start of the season, so until Monday, and today's Friday. So all right, let's get out of here. Let's get you out of the sun. All right guys, we're into bait number 3 here, the furthest north bait. Again, this bait's set up for a northwest wind. You guys are looking towards the east, so my stand is actually back here. I think it's on this tree, or I don't know, somewhere back here. It is on this tree right here. It's like 18 yards in here. Again, I can't really get much more, just the way stuff sets up in the woods out here. You know, it's gonzo thick out here in the woods. You know, luckily there was this old logging trail or whatever this is, but you can see we had success again. Not surprising. I mean, they got a heck of a trail going that way. Their trail goes right through here. There's a heck of a trail goes right through here. Looks like a heck of a trail kind of cuts right through here, goes off this way. And then back here, when I put my stand up, I purposely made sure that I didn't trample all the grass down, but they've definitely been back here. You can see they left their mark. But I purposely, like, you know, these sticks are some of the ones I trimmed off of this tree to get up here where I'm actually going to be hunting. But none of this was all matted down like this, so the bears were definitely in here fiddling around. I mean, it sort of looks like a trail kind of cuts right through here. There's a lot of sign in here, so I don't know if that means that there's little bears in here just fiddling around, or if there's a bunch of bears coming in and out of here chasing each other. Because like all of these, this stuff here wasn't smashed down like this before, these branches. Like I said, the trail kind of goes off this way. It kind of looks like a trail goes off this way. So yeah, there's definitely more access in here. I am a little worried in this bait that, I mean, I'm set up for a northwest wind, so blowing from my bait towards my tree, a west wind would be blowing straight towards my tree, because that's like straight west of me, or east of me. But there is a lot of woods that way. On the opposite side of the road here from the public, there's a private chunk of private, and I chatted with those guys when I was up here pre-scouting in July. And it sounds like they like to run side-by-sides up and down the little road out here and stuff, so I wanted to make sure I was out here far enough to make sure that the bears were comfortable coming in here in the daylight. Again, I got no cameras now, so I don't know what's going on back here, but they're definitely here. I mean, because even more of this is flattened down all the way around in here. So I did bring a full 4 gallons. So basically a full pail here. We're going to dump that. You know, spray the trees here again quickly and get out of here. So this won't be the end of the video. Stay tuned for tomorrow. I think we're going to run a couple of days checks in each video here. I apologize I can't put no pictures, or I got no bears to show you, but they definitely been here. So I mean, like in here, I mean, it almost looks like they're chewing on the roots. And that arc is where I had dumped the honey the first time I was in here. So they literally eaten the dirt, you know, and like where my bait was, I mean, they got all the grass and everything ate to get the bait out of here. So they're hungry, which some of the locals told me there's a lot of berries around this year, so it's going to be hard getting them to hit bait. But right now, I'm not seeing that as being an issue, but things can change, you know, if cranberries start ripening up in the next few days, or who knows, a late crop of raspberries, blueberries, choke cherries are getting ripe. I don't know. But all right, so that's all I got for you guys today. We got success. Bears hit my bait. Hopefully we can since we've been out of bait for I don't know how long, I'm guessing it could be, you know, up to 2 or 3, 4 days even. Because last Friday when I baited, it would have been from Sunday until Friday, so essentially like 5 days. Well, this time it was 7 days, and in 5 days they had cleaned my bait out already. So I'm guessing a couple days ago they were probably without. So hope is in the next 3 or 4 days the bears will come back and check this and find bait here. Because like I said, I'm going to make sure there's always bait here now until I get a bear, basically. So, all right, we'll see you guys tomorrow. All right, guys, welcome back. It is Saturday. We're into bait 1 here. A little surprised by this, but not terribly. Because again, I think my bait probably, I mean, I could have been 3, 4, 5 days without bait in here. So it may take them a little bit to find my bait again. One thing too, last night, like, I don't know, an hour and a half before dark, I did a little driving around and there was like 0 wind. Like everything, like the dust on the roads was just hanging. It wasn't blowing sideways. It wasn't moving at all. So that's typically not good to try and get your scent out, get it out in the air. So with that said, it doesn't look touched at all. So I had most of the candy kind of on the bottom of my pail. So yeah, if something was here, it didn't do much. So I dumped 4 gallons of bait in this bait yesterday. I'm actually not even going to dump any more here today. We're going to freshen up the scents just a little bit. So the anise, the liquid smoke, I have a kind of a blueberry liquid gallon of that. I'm going to splash a little more on the tree here. There's almost no wind right now either, so that doesn't help me either. So you almost just have to kind of get the bear to naturally kind of wander back through here. One thing I'm not going to walk into bait number 2 today. This is even prime example of why not. I don't have high hopes for that bait. I also want to save bait a little bit here. So, I mean, I'm bummed that the bears ain't here again, but I'm also like, you know, it's 2 gallons less bait because I'm only going to dump about 2 gallons each time now. Until I maybe get at least into like Monday when hunting season is here, then I might make sure there's bait here if they start getting hit again. I want to make sure it never runs out while I'm actually hunting. So we're not going to walk into bait 2 today. In bait 3, we'll take again about 2 gallons in there. If I get in there and they've ate everything, I'm going to just dump the 2 gallons today, and that just tells me tomorrow I need to bring probably more in there, bring like 4 gallons again, because only been 1 night. So if they ate 4 gallons in 1 night, then I'll make sure I'm bringing more in there each time to dump. But all right, we'll quick get some scent in here. I feel like there was something else I was going to tell you, but hopefully I remember before bait 3. So again, we're just baiting bait 2 here, and then we're going to go bait 1, sorry. We're not baiting bait 2. We'll go hit bait 3, and then we'll be done. Oh, what I meant to mention, so I am here, it's just afternoon. It's probably 12:30 or so. It's almost identical time to when I baited yesterday, and we're going to try and stay on this pattern. So I could easily be here at 9 o'clock in the morning if I wanted to be in bait, but I don't know what, because I can't have cameras. I don't know when the bears are coming in hitting. So I want to make sure, like, especially like if they do start finding my baits, that, you know, they maybe eat it in the evenings and overnight, and then in the morning if a bear comes and there's nothing here, that might get them a little more trained to be coming in the afternoons when the bait is actually here. So but yeah, and then when I do start hunting, like this might be a bait where I may actually carry my pails in here and my bow and everything, and then out here there's kind of a grass patch out here. I don't know how well you'll see it, but there's an opening back there, just all, you know, waist high grass. In a situation like this, instead of walking all the way back to the truck and then walking back in here, I may actually just carry the pails back, you know, 75 yards or so back out into this grass area, leave them out in the middle of the grass area, and then come back in here. The wind would be blowing this way, so from my bait to me to those pails, so, you know, they'd be well downwind of anything where the bears should be looking for bait. So I might give that a shot at least the first day, because it sounds like south winds for the first day, and that'd be this bait, which is actually the one I want to hunt because it's got the biggest bears and that chocolate in here. So all right, enough chatting. we'll get some scent in the air in here and we'll be on our way. All right, everyone, we're into bait number 3. Maybe made a little bit of mistake. I didn't use my thermocell at all on that first bait, and I didn't spray with any bug spray. And the bugs never really bothered me, but they're bothering me in here. It's thick. There is a little bit of breeze, just not in the woods. As dumb as that sounds. When I was driving on the road, there was definitely a little bit of a southeasterly wind, which is again kind of the wind I was hoping for. But yeah, in the woods here, like the trees are not moving. Like none of these trees up here, like none of the branches are rustling. I don't know how much you guys could see from the last little clip there, or if I even put it in there, but I did just see a bear across the road. It was about a half a mile from my second bait, cross from the west side into the east side, which is the block of woods that my bait is in there. But I mean, I was a half a mile away. I started my phone and I drove up there and I tried to film into the woods on the side that he run into. I don't know if I caught him. You guys would have seen it in the last clip if I did, but cool to see another bear. It's the third one I've seen this year now. You know, and the last 2 times, so this is my 3rd time bear hunting. My last 2 times, I only ever seen 1 bear total alive, and that was the one I harvested. So it's nice to actually see some bears around, know they're here. I've seen 3, you know, cross roads, and I bumped that one off of my bait, the bait number 1, the first weekend. So anyway, we're into bait number 3 here. Again, it sure doesn't look like anything's really touched my bait. I'm gonna go with not dumping any more bait. I'm gonna freshen up the scents a little bit in here, but like I said, there just was no wind last night going into the evening, and there hasn't been a lot of wind at all today either, so it's not blowing my scents at all out into the bush here. So it will happen, just didn't happen last night. I mean, as you guys seen on the very first weekend I was up here and baited, you know, they didn't hit it the first night it was here either then. Obviously now they know it's here and they'll come back and check, but like I said, we're gonna freshen up the scents in here. I appreciate you guys watching. Stay tuned. I think we're going to throw 3 days worth of checks all in the same video here, so stay tuned for tomorrow. Tomorrow I'm going to run all 3 baits again. I'll check debate number 2 that I'm not doing today, and then we'll go from there. Little bummed they didn't hit them on the first night they were back here. Again, it's going to take them a day or 2 maybe to find my baits again. Just hopefully I can get them hit my bait before Monday. So today's Saturday, so hopefully between Sunday's check and baiting Monday, baiting and or hunting Monday, the bears are here. So all right, let's refresh everything here and get out of here. All right guys, welcome back. It is the day before season. I'm into bait number 1 here. It's not looking good. It's hard for you guys to tell. I'm not gonna get terribly close, but my bait is just covered up in honeybees. So I'm actually not going to pour any honey on this stand. I am going to spray a little bit of fresh liquid up in the trees in here, so the anise and the liquid smoke. The wind has not been right. A good one, it's not very windy at all. The trees are rustling a little today, but the wind has been out of the south all for the last 3 days. Well, that's blowing my wind out here, you know, where there's an empty field. I needed like some wind to blow out of the northwest to blow it out into this block of woods. One thing that I got to keep in mind, or you guys should keep in mind, so this is bait number 1 set up for a southeast wind. Bait number 2 is as well. I'm actually going to carry 2 sticks into that second bait. I didn't check it yesterday because it's kind of seems to be my lowest production bait, but we're going to carry a couple sticks in there today, and if that bait has been hit, we're actually, you know, going to hang those 2 sticks in there. Because if this bait don't get hit tomorrow, that probably would be the bait I'm hunting if it's hit. Obviously, I'll bait before I start hunting. I was really hoping this bait would have got hit last night, because then I would have known that I'm coming here tomorrow. You know, if with all the bears I got on camera that had hit this bait previously, you know, I figured I'd be coming back here, but it hasn't been touched at all. So like I said, we're just gonna freshen up the liquid. Again, so the weather tomorrow, it's supposed to chance of showers in the afternoon, which is not great for bear hunting, or not great for me setting out here because I don't want to set in the rain. I'm going to, but I don't want to. But then the wind, there's a cold front moving through, and it's going to change the wind direction from the south wind has been the last few days to a northwest wind. But it sounds like most of the week, so starting Tuesday all the way through like Friday for sure, it's going to be a northwest wind. So that's going to be set up for bait number 3. The only nice thing is like this bait, that should help this bait because it's going to blow the wind out. So if I can get lucky, if I don't have a bear already, if I get lucky with the northwest wind, this bait should start getting hit again, I would think. I would certainly hope. And then, you know, later on in the week, I might have a chance to come back and hunt here. I mean, if you guys watched last week's video, or the video for me checking last week, you know, the last trail cam pictures I got, you know, there's one big bear in here and that chocolate bear in here. You know, I'd be happy with either one of those two. So now I don't know which bears, if it even gets hit, I don't know which bears are going to be doing it. But if this bait starts getting hit, like I said, later on in the week, I might have a chance to come back here. So, but with that, like I said, nothing got touched. We're going to spray a little bit of anise and liquid smoke, and we're going to get out of here. Tomorrow baiting, honestly, there probably won't be any baiting videos. The only time I would consider filming is like, you know, if it's tomorrow south winds or whatever, and I'm in on the northwest wind bait number 3, I might film a little bit in there because I'm not worried about me hunting that bait that day, because I don't want to be doing this on a day I can be hunting. So it's going to be come in, dump bait, get out. Probably, you know, I bring my camera in here in case something interesting, but I'm not going to be doing a lot of talking, if any. I'm just going to bait and leave. So, and my hope is kind of whichever bait I decide to hunt. I was hoping it'd be this bait, but we'll see the second bait. If that bait's got hit, I'll probably bait that one last. And my plan would be to walk in there, and even in this bait, I come in and bait, and then carry my pails and leave them out here in the grass. I have a spot kind of picked out where I think they'd be out of the way. They're going to be upwind or downwind of the bait, so I don't think the bears are going to mess with it, because I think there's very little chance they come from that way. So. And in bait number 2, the same thing. I could walk out like 75 yards and set my pails where they're going to be out of the way. Nothing's going to mess with them, or I don't think. You never say never. And then walk back in and climb up in my tree. So basically it's going to be dump bait, get in the tree almost right away. That's going to be kind of my status quo when I'm hunting. So again, if I'm doing that, I don't want to be talking to you guys. So, all right, we're going to try not to get stung here. I'm going to spray a little bit of anise and liquid smoke up in the trees, and hope that one of the other baits is being hit, and hope that, you know, that this one gets hit in the morning and I'll be hunting in here tomorrow night. So, or even that this bait gets hit tonight and I'll be hunting in here when I come to bait it tomorrow, that it's hit, and then I can hunt in here. So, all right, let's get out of here. All right, guys, we're into bait number 2 here. I'm going to talk kind of quietly because we had some action here. This bait's definitely been hit. One thing I want to keep in mind, that I had kind of the widow's faith at this bait. So on Friday when I was in here, I only dumped 2 gallons of bait. Instead of 4 like the bait 1 and bait 3, I dumped 4. But those were the ones that were getting hit the most, you know, previously. So I thought, well, we're going to dump a little less because I had less faith in here, but the one I have the least amount of faith is the one that got hit. So, and it didn't just get hit a little, it got hit. So all the bait is gone. Oh, the mosquitoes are bad. There was almost no mosquitoes in the first bait, so I didn't spray it down, and I didn't bring my thermocell in here. So we're going to hang my 2 ladders up here in the tree. We're going to do that first before I dump bait, because I don't want to risk getting any bait smell on my hands. So we're going to go quick hang the 2 ladder sections up. We're going to dump my bait here and get out of here. So I have no idea what's coming in here for bears. Like I said, I mean, there's like a beautiful trail goes right here, kind of off this way. And there's like trail off this way. And there's kind of a trail off this way. I think tomorrow the wind's going to be southwest, so that means my scent's going to be blowing that way. That field is kind of over this way, so that my wind is going to be kind of blowing into the woods off that way. But like I said, I mean, it sure looks like most of the trails are coming from out this way, which is sort of what I expected. The brush is a lot shorter out there. It's a lot thicker, higher stem count than it is like even over this way. It's plenty thick over here too, but I think the bears are coming from over this way. So, all right, I'm getting demolished by a skeeter, so we're gonna quick go get my ladder up in here, or the 2 ladder sections, kind of get that stand situated, make sure it's ready to hunt tomorrow. I still think if that other bait gets hit, we're gonna hunt that other bait, but at least I got a plan B. I got a plan of a place to hunt where a bear's been in here in the last couple days, so it's a good sign. Well, this is a pretty darn good sign. Man, it's hot out here. It's above 80, and in the woods there's just like no wind in here, but we're into bait number 3. It didn't actually take me only just a minute or two, like I thought, to hang a couple ladder sections in my platform. Actually, it was kind of where I wanted it. I moved it just a little bit, adjusted it, and hung my tether rope up in the tree to hold my saddle. But yeah, I'm into bait number 3, and this one again had 4 gallons of bait instead of 2, so they literally ate 4 gallons of bait in one night. So tomorrow we'll probably be bringing 4 gallons instead of just 2 gallons in here, but you can see there's still a little bit of granola. You know, like all these little specks are some granola still there, so they definitely didn't clean me out. Or, I mean, they cleaned me out, but they didn't get every last little bit, which tells me that there's a decent chance they'll come back in here. We'll dump a couple more gallons tonight. So again, this hadn't been touched yesterday, so they ate 4 gallons of bait in one night. So we're sort of in bait management right now, so the fact that a couple, yesterday I didn't use any bait, and the first bait I didn't use any bait today, I've only used, 4 gallons in 2 days here now. So again, just gonna have to kind of watch. Thing is, this bait is the bait I'm gonna be hunting most likely not tomorrow, but, it won't be tomorrow the way they're talking, but it will be probably Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, so 4 days in a row. So again, tomorrow I'll probably bring 4 gallons in here because I want to make sure there's plenty of bait here to keep them coming. I wanted to make a point, so like the other 2 baits I think I can get in and out of. Walk in, bait, walk back just a little ways, leave my pails. This is one that's not that way, because all the way through here, probably close to 400 yards in here, it is thick. It's just like this the entire thing, and the bears could very easily come in from behind me here, which ain't great. I don't, the more I've baited this, the less I like my setup in here. I mean, I have a good shot here. It's just the bears can get downwind of me here real easily, and they very well might. So just gonna have to do what I can here. The more westerly it is, so west wind's gonna be blowing almost straight down the path here. So the more westerly it is, the better off I feel, but whatever. So on this one, like on Tuesday, I'll probably come in and bait and then walk back out, then change clothes because I'm all sweated up right now. Nice thing is it's going to cool off in the next couple of days too, which will make it a little nicer baiting. So but yeah, so we're going to walk in, bait, walk out, change into my bow hunting gear, and then try and sneak back in here quickly. Basically a quarter mile, so it's going to take me 20 minutes probably to walk out of here, change, get ready to go, and get back in here. So whichever bait that I'm hunting should probably be the last bait that I'm baiting that day, and then I got nothing else going on, so I might as well, as long as I'm done baiting, I might as well come and set. And again, I started about noon again today. It's almost 2 now. It'll be probably 2:30 by the time I get out of here. So that's kind of from 2:30, and I can hunt till like at least 8:30. I don't even know. So we're gonna dump bait here quick, freshen up scents, get all that ready to go. I'm gonna go back and we're gonna try and make sure get all my stuff ready. So in my pack, I'm gonna get my license in there, a knife, you know, anything I need to kind of, you know, field dress a bear and anything like that, headlamps, all that stuff. Because when I basically, like I said, because tomorrow when I'm done baiting, whatever is the last bait, I'm gonna go right to hunting. I'm not gonna run back and try and grab my bow and all that. I'm gonna be bringing it all with me tomorrow. So I'm gonna make sure, get everything that I need to hunt in my pack, and I'll be probably carrying it all day in the bait, because I do have like a saw and clippers and whatever that I probably want to carry in and out of the baits tomorrow. But so we're gonna go do that. Again, this probably be the last baiting video, because again, you know, like when I'm in this bait tomorrow, I'm probably not going to want to film, because I mean, it's hunting season. So like I said, I want, one, time is of the essence, because you never know when that bear is going to come into your bait, and two, I don't want to be talking, and if there's a bear somewhere around, I don't want to like push him out away from my bait. So I'm going to come in tomorrow, dump my baits, and go. So the next video you see will probably be a hunting video of some sort. I'm going to try and run my Tacticam and film, you know, even if it's small bears, I'm going to try and get some footage of them, whatever, and we'll see. You never know. The first bear that comes in might be the one that's going to go home with me, and that's, hopefully I could get some of that on camera for you guys. So for sure, if I harvest one, we'll get some footage of it, but maybe not of the actual kill, but maybe tracking and field dressing, whatever, you know, trying to get them out of the woods. Whatever I can get on film for you guys, I will. But otherwise, thanks for watching Schmattz Outdoors. Leave any comments down below if you think I should be doing anything differently, because again, I'm a novice at this. This is only my second time really baiting for myself and doing it all myself. So if you guys got some comments, please leave them down below. Again, everybody can learn from each other. So if you've been doing this a while and you have some tips and tricks, I'd like to know them, and I'm sure other people would too. So with that, we'll see you guys on the next Schmattz Outdoors video.